West Point Gold, as Chen pointed out, sorry, I better say this. I'm going to make some forward-looking statements here. Quentin's very good lawyer at San Cristobal is also on my board, so if I'd be remiss not to say this. West Point is a Southwest U.S. gold explorer. All of our assets are in the Walker Lane trend. Our focus asset is the Gold Chain project in Arizona. What I want to get across to you guys today is that Gold Chain is a district-scale project, but we're already on the path to a maiden resource. And as the CEO, I think we're and I'm certainly biased in this, I think we're undervalued based on what we've already drilled off today. We're well-funded. I've got an aggressive exploration program underway, 15,000 meters. We're about 4,000 meters in, so expect a steady flow of drill results. We'll wrap that up kind of May, June this year. We've got a good team, a good diverse team, both technical and financial. And then we've got our Nevada assets. These are a good selection of projects, all advanced exploration, 100-plus drill holes, all good grades. I think for investors, we're not going to talk about them today in the 10 minutes that we have, but they represent option value. There's an opportunity for us to create value. Briefly on the capital structure, you can look at this at your leisure, but 108 million shares out, those 22 million warrants are all in the money, and we've seen a steady flow of cash come in from them. In fact, despite drilling 4,000 meters, our cash balance actually increased in Q4 because of those warrants coming in. So that puts us in a good position to continue to be aggressive. We added a second rig in January. Second rig to the project in January. Zooming in on the Gold Chain project, despite being in the Southwest U.S., which you generally get better than average infrastructure, we actually have excellent infrastructure. Our exploration office isn't too far from that McDonald's. Thanks, Chris Taylor, for that idea to put a restaurant on your slide. I can pick up coffees or Big Macs at McDonald's and deliver them warm to the drill rig in 20 minutes. That's not something you can do everywhere in the world. Additionally, right here you have Davis Dam, a hydroelectric facility. This highway that runs south of the project's a 4-lane highway. There's a high-tension power line that runs on it. Another thing that's important to know about the U.S. is that water is a state-based issue. And so we have private claims and patented land at the core of our project. With that, in Arizona, if you have private land, you have subsurface water rights, and so we can drill water wells. Now, I will tell you that we haven't drilled the water wells to prove I can build a modern mining operation, but when you're exploring in the desert, that's certainly an important step in the right direction. And lastly, this is an active mining jurisdiction. Some of you may remember the Moss Mine. It is currently held by Mako Mining. They're in the process of amending their permits. It was permitted in a less favorable regime in 2017. It's a combination of patents and BLM claims, just like our project. And they're in the process of amending their permits again and having a very supportive BLM office here. And so that's something that we see with our drill permitting, and we'd expect to see when we get to mining. So great jurisdiction. Now the project. If you remember, at the very beginning on that slide, there's an exploration target of 20 to 30 million tons at 2 to 3 grams a ton. To do the math quickly for you, that works out to about 1 to 3 million ounces of gold at surface on patented claims in Arizona. But that only covers this 1 kilometer of the project and that patented claim. The advantage of this project is we have a number of different structural targets that have created, with hydrothermal fluids coming in, have created a number of spaces. We focused on the Tyro main zone because the gold zone sticks out of the ground. Everywhere else it's a little bit deeper. Tyro, that northeast structure, is actually 3.5 kilometers long. Importantly, Tyro South here is part of that, which we're going to go out and test. The green line you see on here is actually a 15-kilometer structure. It's defined by mapping, sampling, geophysics, all the work that we did over the kind of the weaker market. Now we're going to get out and go drill it. In particular, Black Dyke, an interesting structural package. There's a historic drill hole out there, 20 meters at 0.7. And then last but not least, and this is the kind of the big swing target for us, is the Frisco Graben. There's 2 major structures that run through here. You have the Union Pass Fault and the Frisco Mine Fault. Those 2 structures opened up, created a graben. That graben's been filled with hydrothermal fluids. A comparison would be Silicon Merlin. We got a lot of drilling to get to Silicon Merlin, but we believe we have a fully intact hydrothermal gold system subsurface here. We put 4 holes in it, had some technical success. We got to go back there and drill some more as well. But our work is focused on the Tyro main zone because the gold sticks out of the ground. And this is what this looks like today. On the right here is a mine that was operating in the 80s. As I've said to a number of investors over the last couple of weeks, thank God they didn't know what they were doing, because this would be a big hole in the ground now, based on the drill results that we've had. And you can see in here some of the workings from 100 years ago when this went to patent. If you look at the drill results, we've had a lot of success. We defined this zone over a kilometer long, sort of 3 parts of this zone. What got people excited about this story is the high-grade zone here at Northeast Tyro. In April last year, we drilled a set of 3 holes, including 30 meters at 9 grams. We followed that up subsequently, including hole 81 here, which is 36 meters at 7. And there's hole 88, which isn't on this diagram, but is out there. We have 44 meters at 5. So we've been able to define what is a 300-kilometer long high-grade zone, comes to surface, and goes to a depth, defined it to a depth of 200 meters. What does 9,000 meters look like into the Tyro main zone? This is it. This is, you can see here, oops. You can see here, this is the high-grade zone as it plunges to depth. That's that 47, 48, 49. Those were the discovery holes that we made. And you can see here 81, that's 88, that's the furthest to the northeast. We think this zone continues out here towards the Frisco Mine Fault, a major structural feature in the area. And what's happened with our drilling is we've started to define sort of 3 areas of mineralization. You have kind of a 3 to 5 gram to ton zone that comes to surface, a 1 to 1.5 gram ton zone that comes to surface, and a half gram a ton zone that comes to surface. What we're doing with our 15,000 meter drill program is converting that exploration target into a maiden resource. We're filling in the 150 meters below this, and we're starting to work on that now. And so expect a steady flow of drill results from the Tyro main zone. But there's more. And I think the key thing here is that, as I said at the beginning, we have a large package with a number of targets on it, and so we're going to go out and test those. And so our goal this year, besides converting this exploration target into a maiden resource at the Tyro main zone, is to make a discovery. Probably the most notably is Tyro South, and that is in that same structural package. It's the same scale, just we don't get the gold mineralization at surface, but we do get this 11.5 gram sample off a historic shaft, and that tells us that this gold surface is below our feet, and so expect results in Q1 from that zone if we can expand this. What to expect from us this year? 15,000 meters. We've been on a pace of putting out drill results every 2 to 3 weeks, and some pretty good holes at that. In that high-grade zone, there's half a dozen 250 gram meter holes. With that second drill rig, that pace is going to at least be maintained. We're going to have some additional metallurgical test work out on the project as we move this thing towards a maiden resource later in the year. We're well funded, $7 million in cash, $10 million of in-the-money warrants that keep coming in and maintaining our cash balance. And that's the West Point Gold story. If you have any questions and want to get anything more detail, I'll be out at the booth after this. Thank you.